am presenting today is probably what we have gathered over the last 2 decades of research in Uttara Kannada district. This is a district where a lot of ecological research has been carried out over the last 2 decades. In fact, it was started by Professor Gadgil, Madhav Gadgil, and of course now my generation is taking it forward. We have looked at the terrestrial ecosystem. Probably my talk would be slightly different from the previous speakers. We have looked at the terrestrial ecosystems, that is forest, and also riverine ecosystem. We also understood what are the linkages between the aquatic ecosystem and the terrestrial ecosystem. Now we have come to the coastal ecosystem. Because finally whatever happens in the terrestrial ecosystem, it lands in the coast. So we thought that when we talk to the decision makers, every time people used to say, what is the use of wetlands? So at that stage we thought that, okay, if we have to convince the decision maker about the value of the ecosystem, only the best way to do is to talk in their terms, in terms of currency. So that's where we took up the valuation of the coastal ecosystem. In fact, I have done for the forest also, maybe 1 or 2 slides, I'll show it at the end of my talk. In fact, when we look at the valuation of coastal ecosystem, we have looked at what are the goods and services that the system provides. In fact, there is a slide, there's a background for this research, because about 2 years back, the Karnataka government decided to have the ultra mega thermal power plant in one of the estuary, which is a highly productive. This is a 4,000 megawatt plant they were planning to set it up, and which would have affected about 2,500 livelihoods. To tell the government that this region is supporting the 2,500 family, we carried out this study. So, and whatever I am presenting today, most of the presentations are available at my group web page. So those who are interested can just look at this web page, CES-IIC-Energy. And of course, I also coordinate a program under the Ministry's Environmental Information System. That data is also available here, the Western Ghat the information system. The team consists of research scholars, Bhumi Nathan, Mahima Bhatt, and the postdoctoral fellow, Dr. Prakash Mehta, and my colleague, Professor M.D. Ramachandra. In fact, when we look at the ecosystem, the fascinating ecosystems, I think the light should be switched on. Then only you will enjoy the scene.
Subhash, come.
The one who knows. You switch off that. See here, you can see the Sahyadrian range, the Western Ghats, and it merges with the estuaries. In fact, today's my presentation, it talks about why the estuaries are important and how to conserve that. So, in fact, you can see the humans are part of the ecosystem. So, and when we look at the various components of the ecosystems, you know the mangroves. See, only when we look at from the human perspective, you say that, then only people say that, okay, we have to conserve that. Now when I say that there is a climate change happening, changes in climate is happening because of the global warming that everybody knows, and there has to be some entity which they takes away this carbon, and mangroves does the job. The studies have shown that they sequester the carbon, and you can see the other this one is in the shore stabilization, that is against the floods or the cyclone. And of late we notice there are the decline in the mangrove area in the region, and these are the various other components of this. You can see the people collecting the biomass. The fishery is one of the major components in the estuary. So, and you can see the grasses and edible comb beds. Okay. Now when I come to the goods and services, essentially I have just looked at what are the goods the ecosystem provides. The goods could be the fuel, the fish, the sand, salt, etc. So, and when we quantify these goods and services, broadly we categorize it into the provisioning services, regulating services, supporting services, and the information services. It's quite easy to compile the information as far as the provisioning services are concerned. Whereas the people can question about the regulating services and supporting services. But today we have the studies which are the well-known internationally, those are the kinds of studies we have looked at for quantifying the regulating and supporting services for our ecosystems in Uttar Kannada. When you look at the goods, what are the direct users? We look at and we just quantify that. And there are various valuation techniques, the market price or of course, in some of the systems we use the hedonic or the travel cost method. Now, we just compile all the information. This could be from the government service, the records, or from the primary data. In some cases, we have done the primary data collection. Then, of course, we adopted the market value approach. That means whatever the value of that in the market, we just multiply the quantity with that. It gives the value for the product or the goods. So that's how we have quantified for all the goods what we get from the ecosystem. And finally, it gives the total for the provisioning services or the goods and services. Okay. Now, to summarize what I said so far, the total economic valuation is the combination of provisioning services, regulating services, supporting services, and the information services. Now, these are the various functions. I will not get into the details of this. If there are any clarity required, I think the manuscript is available on the web. And also, I will be available till evening. I can discuss about that. Okay. So I'll just skip some of these things. Okay, these are one of the most well-known, the literature as far as the valuation is concerned is by the Costanza, and the other one is by the D group. We have looked at this one, how they have valued the regulating, supporting services and the information services. And now I'll take you to my district, Uttar Kannada district in Karnataka. So it's on you can see the western part of and one of the coastal district. And we have looked at these are the four estuaries of the coastal ecosystem we have looked at. Sharavati, Aganashni, Gangavali and Kali. Now when I do the valuation of the ecosystem, see there are certain advantages. Among these four rivers, you see that Kali and Sharavati are already dammed. That means the hydroelectricity generation is happening. And the other two, the Gangavali and Aganashni, are not dammed. There are no interventions are there. Now if I give a comparative assessment of the goods and services I get from this ecosystem, it reveals what is the impact of the interventions, the human interventions in the ecosystems. Now these are the estuaries we have looked at. The estuary is the region where the river joins the sea. So we have looked at all the estuaries in the district, the Kali, Aganashni, Gangavali and the Venkatapura. And this probably everybody knows what happens when there are external input to the system. So for example, if there are pollutants getting into the system, which is I have seen in Bangalore, the macrophytes cover the lakes. In fact, when we let too much of sewage into the system, because of the high amount of the nutrient available in the system, you see the profuse growth of macrophyte. When the macrophyte covers the ecosystem, it doesn't allow the sunlight to penetrate. In the absence of sunlight, we lose the algae or the phytoplankton. In the absence of algae, the next level, the consumer, the primary consumer and second consumer also, the productivity comes down. That means, if you abuse the system, you see that we don't get the good. This is the message we get from this kind of study. Now, we collected the primary data. Here is my colleague, my student Mahima Bhatt is collecting about the fishes. And these are some of the species that she has collected from so you can see that which are highly available and the medium quantity. These are across the various rivers, various estuaries. Okay, these are some of the other species. Now, and also we compared what is the valuation. Now you can see this is Gangavali. This works out to be about 374 lakhs. from the fish. Then the Aganashni is about you can see that 43 crores. Now when you look at these two, the 3 crore versus 43.5 crores, or this is the Sharavati estuary is about 2.7. Now you see that 43 versus 2.7, but the rivers are comparable. Then why the productivity of one has come down? This one has to debate. So, and then we also looked at what are the other kinds of the goods we get it. It could be the rice that is cultivated in the vicinity, that is the salt tolerant rice, and the aquaculture, the sand mining, biowells, etc. So that's how we quantify the thing. When you look at this, there are about 8,223 people are employed in this particular estuary, Aganashni estuary, in various activities, and the value amounts to that. Okay? Now, this gives you the species in the ecosystem. We have about, in the Sharavati river, about 64 species. Out of that, 19 are endemics. Endemics are the ones which prefer the specific habitat. That means if you shift them elsewhere, it doesn't thrive. Then in the Wetland river, you have 59 species. Out of that, 16 endemics are there. Then estuarine fishes are the Kali 70, the Gangavali 37, Sharavati 20, and Aganashni 85. Now when you look at this, you see that even though it is a small estuary, you have a higher, and the number of the other diversity is much higher compared to the estuaries. Now I'll take you to each one of the case studies now. So let us look at the bivalves in fact these are the organisms. You can see that now when you look at this, you see that it is there in all the rivers and not present in the A means absent, P is the present. So this gives an idea about the presence of the organism across the various estuaries, and also at the same time whether the salinity level in the estuary has any role in this. So now when you come to this, you can see these bivalves are the invertebrates. They belong to the phylum Mollusca. I will not get into some of these details. Okay. So what we did is to value this one. So we carried out the survey. So and also the two things. One is who are the people who are collecting and how much they are collecting and which season they are collecting. And the other end, we also looked at what kind of species occur in that ecosystem. So and then finally we did the valuation of that bivalves. Now these bivalves, these shells are used in the cement industry, lime and cement, and also the toothpaste industries. Okay, shell for poultry and prawn feed, and it is rich in proteins. These are the things, and it is being exported to. I mean, the bivalves that is grown there comes to the Mumbai and Goa. So this is the study region. So now this is the estuary which I am talking about. It's this is the Aganashni river. So and finally it joins the sea, the Arabian Sea here, and this is the estuary which we have looked at. Now when you look at the ecosystem, you get the glimpse of this one, and you can see the mangroves also. The forest department has taken up some initiative in planting the mangroves. So and some of the mangroves that are already there, the manchustin. And this is the kind of the biodiversity, the birds in the ecosystem. These are some of the winter visitors are also there, and this is a crab. So now what we did is, we did the valuation. We did the caste dependent on bivalves was surveyed through the stratified sampling, and about 10% of the households were covered. So we estimated how many people are dependent on this profession and what quantity they collect. And about 5% of the households were chosen to estimate the quantity of bivalves collection and the price per unit of bivalves and expenditure, etc. So now these are the people who are involved in this. You can see both men and women are involved in this profession. So and the shells which are after the organism is taken out, or after the meat is taken out, the shells are used goes to the industry. So and these are dried bivalves. Okay. And these are some of the species that occur in the Aganashni estuary. So now you can see that some of these are the organism that thrives there. Now this is something interesting as far as I am concerned. Now when I look at this, you see that the 1978, the Kali, this organism, this particular organism was occurring up to 12 kilometers. But After the dam construction, it occurs only up to 4 kilometers. Now, that could be because of the salinity level coming down in the system. Similarly, Kali 2012, you can see that. Then changes in salinity. We have also looked at whether what our hypothesis is true, whether the salinity has any role in the organism's habitat, the preference. So then these are the other species. Now let us see where this organism occurs. These are the. Now when you look at this Kali, you can see that up to 27 kilometers they were there. But now it comes down to this one, you can see that it is up to 12. So that means from the estuary backward up to 12 kilometers. Earlier it was up to 27 kilometers. So now these are the things. Now the changes have happened. So now, so what? People might question. So only way is that how much yield has come down. If you can tell that, then only it convinces the system. So that's what we have done. So now this is the estuary. Now our analysis shows that there are about 1,256 families are collecting the thing. About 2,411 people are engaged in this. So of this, about 1,815 are men and 596 are women. The mean quantity of bioharvest per day is about 5 buckets, which is about 75 kg, which are actually measured by my students. Okay, our estimation showed that bioval provides income of about 25,000 per male and rupees 10,000 per female per year. And shell and dried bivalves is about 2 million, and revenue works out to be about 65 crores. Then we also quantified, extrapolated to the entire region, and it works out to be about 22,000 tons per year. And the average annual income per year for every hectare of bivalve harvesting is about 3 lakh rupees. This gives the productivity or the value of that ecosystem. So now, this I showed you earlier. Then we also looked at the other component, like bivalves. We also looked at the rice that is cultivated there, then the fish, then the shrimp culture, salt, sand mining, etc. Now when we quantify all those things, we see that we get the value of the you can see that there is a difference in across the river basin, across the estuary, and also there is a change because of the dam construction also. So one of the things could be the attribute that could be the deciding as far as the bivalves, the fish, the productivity is the salinity. Second is the nutrient. When you construct a dam, you are not allowing the nutrient to come to the estuary. If there are no dams, there are the estuaries are highly productive. You go and measure the N and P, you will see that what is the kind of the nutrient that is there. So now, with this kind of a primary data, we try to extrapolate that for the entire ecosystem. So what we did is we just compiled all the quantities, all the goods what we get from the thing, and multiplied that with the price of that in the market. Okay, then we have so now when we get all the across all the estuaries, you see that Aganashni is about 11 lakh rupees per hectare per year. While Kali, there are 4 series of dams are there in the reservoir, and it's one of the biggest estuary in the reservoir. It is only 2,40,000. Now Gangavali is about 2,90,000. This is a relatively smaller estuary. And Sharavati is another the river which is dammed in the 60s, and the productivity is about 2,86,000. Now we are talking about development. If you want to say that development has the benefit to the system, we need to put that benefit along with this thing and show that this is as good as what the ecosystem was providing without any development. See that today we are not, when we talk about development, we undervalue the resources. The undervaluation is happening either because of the ignorance or because of the deliberate this one. So when we start quantifying this one, see, as I said earlier, the third day there was a power station was supposed to come up. When we went to the chief minister and when we did the presentation, at the end of this one, the chief minister said that we are not going to take up the project there. So that is the thing. In fact, the country needs electricity, but we need to look at the alternatives, and there are many places why to affect the ecosystem which is providing the employment to the 8,000 people. So that was the argument. Now, this is the total revenue what you get. These are astronomical numbers. So now, Across this one, we have the quantified the rupees per year. You can see that what is the kind of this one. This is about 778 million. So these are the things you see that across the estuaries. But you see that still the ecosystem where there are no human intervention are highly productive, which is evident from our quantification. You can see that Aganashi compared to other the estuaries. So whether you take the provisioning services or the total this one, you see that it excels among the other estuaries. Okay. So this gives the total economic value of this. So some message of this one is, if the ecosystem is allowed to work as it is, as the nature's rules and principles, that ecosystem is highly productive. So now, this is something which is puzzling to me or to my colleagues. We looked at people always talk about GDP as the indicator for the country or the region's development. At the district level, we talk about GDDP, Gross Domestic District Product. Now when I look at the Gross Domestic District Product of Uttar Kannada district, it's about 5,798 crore. But I see one estuary itself gives much higher this one. And when you look at this one, the forestry and logging sector is about 180 crores in the GDDP. Now when I look at the forest ecosystem, okay, it amounts to the 15,000. The similar valuation what we did for the estuaries, we also did for the forest. And it works out to be 15,000 crores. Does it mean there is an undervaluation? Or is there a deliberate undervaluation of the natural resources so that someone can loot it? For us, it appears so. Because even if I take out oxygen, oxygen might be debatable, the value what I have given. Even then it is 12,000 crores. 12,000 crores versus 180 crores, what is accounted for the forestry, which is this one. Now these are the kinds of things we need to question the decision maker. When they talk about the GDP of the country, have they done the valuation properly? We need to question, and I think there has to be a relook on the valuation of the natural resources. If we are talking about sustainable development, the sustainable development can happen only when we value the natural resources properly. Otherwise, what is happening today will continue for tomorrow, and our children will not have the water. That is what Bangalore is going to face in another 10 or 15 years. So these are some of the estuaries throughout this. You can see that where the mangroves are present. So, well, these are glimpses of some of the when we get bored with the research, we go to the ecosystem and enjoy the ecosystem. These are the glimpses of that, how we enjoy with the nature. Okay. So, okay, thank you very much.